Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on Superman and Lois Season 4. Season 4? Season 3. So we are heading into the final 3 episodes, hopefully just for the 3rd season and not the entire series of Superman and Lois. Now, this season has played out a bit differently than the previous 2 seasons we had before, where the villains in those respective seasons, had their plans clearly laid out to us, the audience, by this point in the season, and we knew roughly where the climax will be built up from and where it was heading. But this season has played out where it has really tapped into the family drama aspect of the show, which, to be fair, it has always been, first and foremost, a family-driven show. But usually the antagonizing side of the show, or, the villains, wasn't fully rooted in that. There was maybe some connections, but not fully rooted. But this season, that is the case. So I think it's pretty clear that the big climax for this season will come, out from left field. You have to think so, at least in regards to what we know so far from the episodes that we have watched. But maybe that is a good thing. We don't know exactly where things are heading, where the twist is coming, if there is one. And you would have to think there will be a mic drop moment of some sort over the next, episode or two as we head closer, to the finale. But one big thing that we knew was coming our way later into this season of Superman and Lois, which honestly I think most people would have thought would have already happened on screen by now, is the introduction of this show's take on Lex Luthor, the big dude. Now, Lex hasn't been absent from the story. He has been relevant, especially in recent episodes, but he has yet to appear on screen. He's just been mentioned in dialogue and reference and everything like that, but that's about to change. We're going to see him. Now, we know that Michael Cudlitz was cast as Lex Luthor, what feels like ages ago at this point, but this was around the filming, I think it was around episode 9 or 10 roughly, that he was announced that he was, had been cast as Lex. But we didn't get that first look photo of him as he's about to exit prison by the looks of it until about 2 months later, which was actually, I think, on the day or around the final days of filming for season 3 as they were wrapping it up. But we are heading into the final 3 episodes now, and still no sight of Lex, despite them releasing that trailer, hyping him up like a month ago or something, hyping up his arrival. Well, now we know when we will 100% see him at the very least, though he, could maybe appear sooner than that, maybe this week's episode. So yeah, we got the synopsis or description for episode 12 for this season of Superman and Lois, which of course is the second final episode, the penultimate episode of the season, as we do only have 13 episodes this season, not 15 episodes like the previous 2. And this episode has a pretty interesting title, especially when you connect it with the character of Superman and his, comic history and stuff like that. Though it's most likely just connecting to Lex Luthor's story and what happened to him, but maybe it could have a double meaning, who knows. And that episode title is that of Injustice. And here is a synopsis for that episode. Michael Cudlitz, The Walking Dead, guest stars. Lois and Clark clash with Jordan over his carelessness around using his powers in public, while Jonathan struggles with Kyle's changing behavior at the firehouse. Meanwhile, Sarah grows frustrated with Lana after she accidentally makes things more complicated with Jordan. And finally, after 17 years behind bars, Lex Luthor is set to be released from prison. So the big thing, actually it's not, I don't think it's the biggest thing, it depends who you are, I guess, but we have a week off before this episode. So we have to wait even longer for this episode to hit the screen. So we will have episode 11 this coming week. There's no break before that one. But then after episode 11, we'll have 1 week off with no episode. So this 12th episode will be airing on the 20th of June, and then the season finale will be on the 27th of June. I think they've taken a break before the second or third last episode every single season, so they're just following that trend, so we shouldn't be too surprised, I guess. But in regards to the synopsis, before we jump into the Lex Luthor stuff, which will be the majority of our discussion, there is some other minor things here. The first thing is Jordan using his powers carelessly. Obviously, we know if you've watched episode 10, this led to Kyle getting suspicious, and now Kyle knowing that at the very least that Clark is Superman. Who knows if he'll find out about Jordan having powers as well. He thought that Jonathan was the one that had powers, so he was already off track in regards to which child was the one that actually had powers. So I think they'll probably just think that he Clark is the one that's doing it. We'll have to wait and see, obviously, but you think maybe Kyle just thinks that Clark is the one that has powers, but then he's like, well, your dad's Superman, so I'm suspicious that you two might have powers as well. So maybe that's where Kyle's viewpoint could be heading into these final few episodes, and maybe some, tension between himself and Jonathan, which is also referenced in the synopsis as well. Now, there is a lot of people wondering, if more of Smallville is going to know about Clark being Superman, and I think it was mainly just the ones that, Clark interacts with a lot, a lot of interaction there. You'd assume that there might be some suspicion there, or if everyone else knows except there's one person, then like might something slip. So maybe they just set it up where it's just I guess in regards to the main cast that you see consistently on the show, all of them know Clark's secret now. But then again, there's still the secret of Jordan having powers to a bunch of people as well. So I don't know. I mean, they could do the storyline where Clark's identity as Superman gets completely out there. I did pose that theory in a previous video that could be the setup for next season, where everyone knows that Superman is Clark Kent, and then it's like this sort of like thing to protect their family or something, which makes them leave Smallville. I guess we'll find out, especially if like Lex Luthor knows that Clark is Superman. That'd be a very interesting twist and could maybe lead to some more drama, but I don't know, maybe Kyle will be the final person that finds out. So wait and see, but we still got to deal with the fallout from that, because last episode just had Kyle finding out and that was it. But yeah, let's get into the big boy himself, Lex Luthor. So after 17 years behind bars, he's being released from prison. Now, he's not going to be a happy camper, we know that, but how does that exactly happen? How does he get out? Well, we know he was framed, and we also know who actually did the crimes that Lex was charged with. That was Pia. But how does it all come together? Well, we know that Pia escaped the DOD and is with, her husband and son, Bruno and Matteo, back at the subway or back at the Mannheim sort of building sort of thing. So that's where she is now. But she's going to be hunted. Like, now she's just not this person there. Like, she is now on the run. So I'd assume that Superman catches up to her and she's arrested for the murders of Boss Moxie and his gang that we saw in flashbacks. And also, like, there's this whole thing where like Lois was recording and everything like that. And like that even might be enough evidence there to sort of pose that she was the one that did it. And that will get Lex Luthor out. Obviously, there's a big moral thing there where Pia made a very good point last episode where it's like, hey, Lex Luthor is a piece of work. He deserves to be behind bars. Sure, I did these things, but let's be honest, the world is much better that he is behind bars, which, we haven't experienced this world without Lex Luthor, but we can just assume that that's probably the case anyway. So it will be very interesting to see the fallout from Lois's decision here, because like Lois is going with like the integrity side of things in regards to her journalistic integrity, in regards to actually getting the facts out there, than maybe what morally is right. So it'll be very interesting to see what Lex is like and his relationship with Lois. But then again, Lois is the one that's getting him out, so maybe he might be forgiving. Who knows? Now, obviously, this is the episode 12 synopsis, and it does openly say that Lex Luthor is in the episode. Now, this might suggest that episode 11, he appears at the end. And if you look at the trailer that he first appears in, it looks like an end credit scene that's just been cut up. It looks like something where we cut there and we see these like final moments where Lex gets out, and it's maybe like a 2-3 minute sort of like after credits sort of thing. It wouldn't shock me if he's at the end of episode 11, though they might leave it to the opening of episode 12, because also Pia, Bruno, Matteo, they are not mentioned in that episode 12 synopsis. So I don't know if that means in episode 11 we wrap up their story, or there's just no need to mention them in episode 12 because maybe they're just not involved in it and it's more of like a Lex Luthor thing and then what's happening in Smallville. So it wouldn't shock me if he appears at the end of episode 11 and it's him getting out of prison. But then again, they might save that for episode 12 if that's the right time, like they feel that's the right time to use him. But if that's the case, and even if he's at the end of episode 11, it's just like almost like a minor cameo and setup for the next episode, but we're only going to get 2 full episodes that Lex Luthor can be a part of before the season wraps up. And that might seem like disappointing, but since they really announced that he was going to be in this season, it always felt like it was set up for a bigger part in season 4. Like even when the original casting information came out that they were, bringing Lex onto the show, it sounded like it was like a recurring guest role or just a guest star thing for a handful of episodes. But then in season 4, that's where Lex is the big player, if that gets to happen. So it makes me really interested to see what Lex does in these limited amount of appearances and everything like that, because I think Bitsy Tulloch, who plays Lois Lane, said in an interview that like when Michael Cudlitz appears as Lex Luthor, he makes his presence known like straight from the get-go, and he's very intimidating. It's a bit more of a darker Lex. And when you understand what this Lex has gone through, where he wasn't just put into prison, but put into prison for almost 2 decades for something he didn't do, you can understand that he'd be a bit peed off. He wouldn't be too happy, would he? So I'm very intrigued to see what this version of Lex is like and potentially what it sets up for season 4. Now, in regards to season 4, we've talked about this potential move to Metropolis, and this could tie into Lex's, season 4 thing. And, this could be maybe associated with a cliffhanger. So maybe it's like Lex building his empire up again. He's been gone for almost 2 decades. you know, who knows what's happened there, whether it's for better or for worse, or the intentions of the Empire and everything like that. Now, Miss Tessmacher apparently is also a possibility in the finale. The actress that played Sue Storm, or the Invisible Woman, in that weird 1990s Fantastic Four movie, was cast for the finale of Superman and Lois for this season, and many things that she is playing that character, which could maybe be the cliffhanger or associated with the cliffhanger leading into season 4, which could be like Lex rebuilding his empire, or going down a different avenue but still trying to build as much power as possible. Because one of the big things that we haven't experienced as viewers is what Superman and also Lois Lane's relationship was with Lex Luthor. I don't think they do flashbacks just because it's limited appearances, unless it's like one like opening scene sort of thing, maybe in episode 12 or the finale. But maybe that'd be like, you'd have room in season 4 to potentially do that if that hopefully happens. So yeah, I'm very interested to see what they do with Lex in this limited amount of screen time, and potentially what they set up for season 4 if that's the case. But I'm just excited to see, because it looks like it's going to be a bit more of a ruthless Lex Luthor, which to be honest we haven't had for a while. So yeah, I'm pretty excited, and hopefully most of you guys are as well. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it and show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on this. Are you looking forward to Lex Luthor finally arriving onto Superman and Lois? Do you have any predictions and theories around where the story could go and everything like that? Let me know in the comment section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.